Welcome to the Thresholds of Reality, the podcast where we explore unexplained and mysterious events, phenomena, and legends. Today we are talking with Janese Ululani, the Kahuna Wisdom Keeper. We're going to explore what that means and much, much more. So strap in as we explore the edges of the unknown. All right, Janese, thank you for joining us today. I'm going to put you up here. All right. So in my work as an estate planning lawyer, I have clients who are very concerned about leaving a legacy behind for their families. And as I've gone through your work, it seems like you're concerned with the legacy our ancestors leave behind for us. Is that right?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. So tell me about what it is you do. What is a Kahuna Wisdom Keeper? Give me the ins and outs. What's your pitch to people about what it is you do?
Let me start with my title, because that makes sense, kind of leads to what I do. So my title, Kahuna, so I'm part Hawaiian, so living here in Hawaii, I'm actually a generational Kahuna. Kahuna is like a priest, a priestess, a shaman, someone who has like spiritual knowledge. So this has been passed down from my family, from my mother to my grandfather, from my great-grandmother, so all the way back. So how I use that is I blend spiritual coaching, energy healing, and clairvoyant guidance all in one to help women transform their ancestral karmic baggage that is coming down from their ancestral lineage, to connect them to their power so that they can like reclaim confidence and have confidence with ease.
All right. Okay. So you said that you're connecting them with karmic lineage, or you're helping them free themselves karmic lineage limitations. What does that mean? Let's unpack that word.
Yes.
Or that phrase. What is that?
So karma could be good or bad. Karma is normally just lessons. These are life lessons. And we hold imprints on our spiritual journeys, as we may seem, and we pass that down to our family. You hear stories about back in the day, how things were, or you have your family telling you about you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should be working in a certain way, you should be having kind of job, and these are like limitations that you end up picking up in your energy field and in your body, and then they get passed on. Some of them is like, I've had clients who dealt with a lot of like not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, and this not feeling worthy and not good enough is coming from like her family, her mom. Her mom was controlling, and because her mom was controlling, because her mom was controlling, and because her mom was controlling, and then it goes down, so there's a lot of those kind of karmic stuff. There's also like abuse that gets passed down too, so it's yeah.
So how much of the lineage baggage that people carry is genetic in nature?
Like
how much of
like
it
the
is?
ratio?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm sure it's different for everybody.
Right.
What kind of
Yes.
baggage are you seeing? And are you helping people break emotional cycles, psychological cycles, spiritual cycles, physical cycles? Like what are we talking about?
They're all cycles. So I'm helping them break it on a spiritual level.
All right. We're getting some audio issues.
So I'm helping them break those karmic cycles where you've been just finding yourself being born into the same patterns, into the same family, and you're wanting to break them free. So it could come in from past lives. And these are agreements that we hold on a spiritual level.
It seems like we're having some audio issues. I apologize for that. Sorry, Janese, we were having a little bit of audio issues. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's tackle them one at a time. So the spiritual issues, what techniques, what tools are you using to help people break through the spiritual cycles that are coming down to them through their ancestors?
So I teach them meditation, and the type of meditation that I teach them is to develop their clairvoyant ability, their ability to see energy, which is healthier for the body to heal, because you're not feeling all of the emotions. You're not becoming all the emotions that is coming up when you're starting to break and release these patterns, because these patterns are so deep. They could run generations in your body, and it could feel very limiting and stopping you and preventing you from like stepping into your power and reclaiming your power.
What power are you referring to? What's the power that they're trying to tap into? What's the power they're trying to harness?
So let's say I'll give you an example for myself personally. Like,
okay.
In order for me to stand into this kahuna and be that as my title, this me being out in the world saying that this is what I do, I needed to break my limitations as far as that came down from my lineage, because in 1905 the state of Hawaii became the United States of Hawaii. The United States, right? So
Yeah.
once that happened, they abolished our music, they abolished our dance. We couldn't practice our spiritual practice. It was forbidden. So because it held that energy of fear, if we were to do any of these, it would be punishment or prison. So you're holding on to that, right? And that's like preventing you from really stepping in who you are and what you're meant to, because all generations we came into this lineage as kahunas. This is who we are, this is what we did, and then all of a sudden we can't do that anymore. So that left that impression in my family. So I needed to clean that up within me, because anytime when I was a child or even just talking about it with my family, they'll be like, no, we don't talk about that. No, that's not safe. No, even till this day.
Wow, that's really sad. I'm sorry to hear that.
Why did they want it to be stopped?
Well, you gotta ask the United States, I guess.
I thought maybe they gave a reason, like.
No, not that I know of.
Huh. So it seems like a lot of what you do is maybe adapted to the Hawaiian culture. Is that right?
Also adapted to indigenous cultures as well, because there's been a lot of indigenous, not just Hawaiian people, but you got like the Cherokee Indians, right? And then you got the Native Americans. They've been stripped and taken from their lands. So this left an impression on the people, and then it gets passed down through generation to generation to generation.
Mm-hmm. And so is your practice then limited to indigenous or descendants of indigenous people, or is it more broad? Is it a broader?
It's more
practice.
It's a more broader practice. I've had women like in European. I have a French lady, and she came to me with sleeping issues. She couldn't sleep. And then when we started peeling the layers of like, where is this coming from? Because it was showing up in the physical reality, right? Her physical body, she couldn't sleep. The root cause was she had so much stress. Her nervous system was shot. She couldn't sleep. So we had to rebuild and heal her nervous system and get her supported, because she didn't feel supported by her family. She didn't feel like safe in her body. So that what caused her to get these physical symptoms.
And the methods that you use to do that, you said you use some clairvoyance. Tell me about that. How are you using your clairvoyant abilities to help people? What exactly does that mean that you're clairvoyant? Who is it that you're seeing, or what is it that you're seeing?
So the clairvoyant, well, again, as I said, it helps you develop your third eye, your sixth chakra, your ability to see. That's what clairvoyance is, your ability to see. And when you are able to tap into that resource of being able to see, then you can tap into your own intuitive guidance inside of you and seek answers from within. And
Okay.
when you start to seek answers from within, you can start to heal yourself.
I am like very new to all of this stuff. So I like when you start talking about chakras and third eye, I'm like, that's not a muscle or an organ that I know about. So can you help me understand how we get to a third eye? Yeah.
We all have the ability to imagine, right? As kids, we imagine all the time. That's what clairvoyance is being able to tap into that imagination and create mental image pictures so that you can see. So, like, it's subliminal as well. Like you, every time you hear bada bum bum bum, like you know it's McDonald's because they have this subliminal thing, right? That's what clairvoyance is. You're picking up that energy, So it's like you're starting to create these mental images, but you are also becoming aware of these old mental images that you've created for yourself and letting those go by seeing them. Like I had a woman, she came to me because she's a single mom of two, and she wanted to have her own home. She wanted to live on her own. She was living with her parents, and she worked 2 jobs, 2 kids. So I was like, okay. So as we started peeling back the layers, having her going into meditation, she remembered a memory, something that was so suppressed. She remembered her parents losing their home to financial hardship. And because she was still holding that in her body, in her energy field, that was stopping her from achieving her goal. 7 months later, she sent me a text with a picture of the home that she saw in her vision, that I had her draw out in her after her meditation, exactly with the red door, blue shutters, and she was standing outside of it with 1 job.
So she went back and bought that house? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh wow, that's.
So she's like, I'm going back and I'm getting that house, and that's what it took for her to heal, is that she had to go back and get the house that her family lost.
No, not the family that she lost. She wanted to create a house for herself. So in the meditation, I had her. She saw the house, so I had her draw what she saw, that mental image that she saw. I had her draw it like kindergarten art. Put it on your refrigerator. I had her draw it. 7 months later, that drawing that she had on her refrigerator that she saw in her vision came true 7 months later.
I see. So It wasn't the house that her family lost. It was the house that she wanted, that she had kind of envisioned for herself. And then she found it in real life and made it hers.
Yes.
Oh, that's neat. I really like that. That's a really cool success story. So again, okay, so tell me what do you mean when you're talking about chakras? Let's start there. You said it was something like a 6th chakras. Where are we starting? Yeah.
6 chakras.
I mean, I've seen Naruto, but I'm pretty sure that's not the same thing.
Kind of similar, but so this is your 6th chakra. So we have 7 major chakras that go up our spine. They all have each individual functions. So this is your 6th chakra, which is your third eye, and like if you were to put your hand like this and like this, that would be the cross of the middle. That's kind of where you come in as a spirit. Yeah, go like this and go like this, and wherever it meets, that's where your spirit lies. That's where you come in and as a spirit, and that is you develop that. Your pineal gland is actually what you develop. You're developing your pineal gland so that you can start to see these mental images clearly when you go into meditation. And so that's what happened with my client. I had her, I helped her develop that so she can see this home that she was creating. She wanted to create for herself. she was able to see it. So when it showed up for her in reality, she knew exactly what it was because she created it.
So how do you build up? Do you have to build up the other 5 or 6 chakras before you get to the third eye, or can you just focus on the one you want and say, like skip leg day? You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have big legs. I just want to have big arms, so I can just do the push-ups and the bench press. That kind of.
Girls is like, I just want a nice butt, but yes, But you can. There is like tools that will help you that I teach. I teach awareness tools to help you get to that point where, because there's sometimes where some of my students like, I don't see anything, I just see black. Okay, that's great. You see black. That's awesome. And then after a while they start to see colors, and then they start to see mental images, and then they start to like all of that kind of stuff after a while.
Okay.
So it's a practice.
It's a process. So you cannot skip leg day.
I thought when everybody closed their, like I see colors and images and all kinds of stuff when I close my eyes already. Like it's crazy. And I just thought that was everybody saw that when they closed their eyes.
Kyle is like he's like a lightning rod for spirits, by the way. He lives with ghosts.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
Not everybody does see that.
Yeah,
right away.
I'm not like that. When I close my eyes, I can see it's like a negative. It's like a film negative. So it's like the opposite colors of what they should be.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, and then as you start to develop your clairvoyant ability, then you're able to like ask questions and kind of like, oh, what does this color mean? What is that? Like, so when I do a clairvoyant reading on someone, what I'm doing is I'm tuning into their frequency. I'm tuning into their vibration, and then your spirit gives me all the answers, what I need to say to you, I'm pretty much the middle person, the communicator between your higher self and you.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Go ahead. I think you're saying looking at a higher self.
Yeah. So what I am is I'm like the middle person that communicates to your higher self.
Yeah.
Whatever messages that your higher self is wanting to know, because you're not listening on some level.
Okay. So what does that mean though? The higher self, is that like the super id, the egos? What is that?
No. The ego, it lives in the body, right?
Okay.
The ego wants to protect you. This is where all your beliefs are formed, is in the ego. This is outside of the ego. This is where your spirit that's been incarnated and that's been with you throughout every single lifetime you incarnated. This is your spirit that has all the information that you need in this lifetime with this body.
Okay.
And it also has information from past lives as well. So I communicate to that. Not the ego mind, because then we'll get stuck, right? We get still stuck in the washing machine of beliefs, right? Which we want to get out of.
I would love to be able to find out like a past life and try to find out like what do you go about, like how do they, is it more like clips, or is it more like they switch new, old, older, whichever one's more powerful, whichever one's more in there? Or
no, it depends. Like sometimes when I do readings, a past life won't come up. Yesterday I did a reading on a woman and she was talking to me, and I definitely saw a past life just come up right in front of her. So I read it, and it was a past life where she was a witch. In another life, she had all these powers. She knew what she was doing. She was really in touch with that spiritual side of her. But then this family was blocking her from like tapping into that. So I helped her clear that past life, bringing that power in this life, that all that knowledge she had as a witch in that lifetime, bringing it into this lifetime so she can use it.
What was the most interesting past life that you've come across? It's like a witch. That's actually a pretty cool past life. Like,
Yeah.
didn't find out that you're actually like a witch or something. But what's something else that's cool that you came across with one of your clients?
Oh, so many. How do I think? Like they all end up
Or most
becoming
of
like,
them boring, like shoemakers or something.
I had one, a lady, she was like stuck in all like when I first saw her and I was reading her, like all I saw was white. I was like, where are you? And I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden it showed me the picture where she was in the middle of like Antarctica. Like it was just white snow or something. I'm like, what are you doing over there? Like what? Why? And so she was like, that was her past life of like, it was like where it was the ice age, And I was like, ice age, why? And then all of a sudden I tell her a little bit more about the past life. And she goes, you know what? That all makes sense because I actually can relate to what you're telling me because I do feel that way right now in this lifetime. This is happening to me right now.
I was like, whatever. Is it only people that you go, or were some people like once like a penguin or something?
Probably. I probably could. I read my cat all the time.
What are you? Oh, that's what you're thinking. No.
So you focus your practice on helping women. What was there a particular reason for that? What's the driving force for your mission to helping women escape their karmic lineage limitations?
Because a lot of the karmic lineage with women is they feel a sense of they don't feel worthy enough. They don't feel powerful enough. They've given over their power in lifetimes to men, to more control. And so because we live in a different world in this time of day and age too, of women are becoming more in the entrepreneurial world, business mindset, busy savvy. So that's actually what my spirit was calling, like I needed to do. Like I got the clear information one day of like, that's what you're going to do. I'm like, okay, sure. Okay. But I do read men as well,
What does a reading typically look like?
It's an hour, and I first go and I say hello to your spirit. I say hello to your higher self, and I take a look at that. And then I start to just read it and see if you have any questions or questions that you're wanting information on, or anything that comes up. Sometimes there is no question, and then later on they're like, oh yeah, I have a question. So like once you start, and then I help them clear the energy that's around that's keeping them stuck.
So is it a lot like a trip to say like a psychologist or something where you sit down and they start talking about their problems, or is it very different from that? Do you when you start trying to clear their energies, does that involve a lot of talking, or is it something else?
No, there's not a lot of talking. It's pretty quick and easy. If they want to talk, some people are talkers. They can if they want. And some people not. I give them space if they want to ask me any further questions, if they want anything to come forward. So I give them that space to do that. Sometimes people just need the space, so someone to hold the space for them so that they can talk, so that they don't feel judged. Sometimes that's all the healing that they need, So it really depends on what they're looking for.
I've heard that phrase before, holding space. What does that mean?
Oh, holding space is being able to be present with someone while someone is going through something, but not putting your own agenda and energy in it. So you need to take yourself out, like whatever's going on, like it's literally completely standing and supporting and for that other person.
Okay. And so it's just basically being a listening ear. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. a listening ear, but you ever had sometimes like you go to someone and you just want to talk, and then all of a sudden they're giving you their advice or their 2 cents, or you know what you should be doing and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, that's not exactly what I wanted. I kind of just wanted to talk it out.
Or you get
And you know,
or
they get judged, or you feel judged. So it's not letting the other person who's there wanting to express them, like allowing them to fully express themselves without judgment, without opinions, without, and expectations, none of that.
Very good. So you shared with us a little bit of a success story. Have you ever had anybody whose obstacles were too great, or they maybe they had some very strong obstacles? What were some of the biggest challenges you faced?
I've literally had a client. I did a call with her. She wasn't my client. I did an interview with her, because I interview every single client before I take them on, just to see how of a mess they are, right? See, like, where they're at, because
Sure.
So I know what I'm getting into and how I can support them completely and fully. So I interview every single one, and on this one interview, we talked, and as soon as we got off the interview, she was telling me before she found me, she didn't want to leave her house. She had 2 little babies. She just felt like she doesn't want to leave them, and she just feels so depressed. She was hiding in her own home. She couldn't get out. And as soon as we got off the phone, she agreed to, we made the agreement. I'm gonna work with her. She got off the phone, and her niece committed suicide.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So then, when our first class started, she was like, I'm so happy that I found you, because if I heard that news without talking to you prior, I don't think I'll be able to get through that.
Right. Wow. That's tragic, but I'm glad that you were there to help out.
It was divine timing,
Yeah, absolutely.
We didn't know. And literally, as soon as we got off the phone, she got the call that she died and that she committed suicide. Well, she was in the hospital and she overdosed, and then she died. But then she got the call as soon as we got off the phone later, and she called me back to tell me.
Well, that's a rough one. Yeah. Wow. On the other hand, what are some of the biggest successes, the biggest wins that you feel like you've been able to chalk up?
Me personally?
Yeah. Or in your profession?
Dealing with my mom.
Your mom?
Dealing with my mom. Yeah. So this isn't something that I decided one day, hey guys, I'm the Kahuna Wisdom Keeper. You know what I mean? No way. This is not, like, I thought I was going to be a flight attendant. So I came in with a karmic wound. So my mom and I just didn't have the best relationships. So I had to work on myself and heal myself so that we don't destroy our relationship. And that was the biggest challenge for me.
So the biggest challenge was just clearing the air with your mom and making sure the relationship with your mother was good. Okay. Well, that's great. Yeah, that is something that I think a lot of people face. I know my wife and her mom, they sometimes butt heads. Is that something that's pretty common? Do most women butt heads with their moms?
Yeah, that's most common. And then what happens, like, it's funny because my sister has the same thing with our mother, and my sister is avoiding her like the plague. And I'm like, why are you avoiding her? Well, I came from the same household, but the difference is that I decided to go work on myself, versus my sister didn't decide to work on it, which is fine. We're on 2 different paths, but I could see how not doing it could really affect someone. Like, she's avoiding her like a plague. And I was like, well, why are you avoiding her? You shouldn't be avoiding her. She's our mother, regardless of what happened or how we feel or whatever the mind or our story, because we tell ourselves stories, right? Growing up. And is that the reality or how the story is playing out, or is this your mind going off? So it's helping you differentiate between is that the story that's really happening playing out in your mind, or is this really real in reality?
I find most times it's actually played out in your mind.
There you go. And that's what I help women with, is to let go of those stories that you tell in your mind.
It's like having a conversation, but only one person is there. So you're imagining the other side of the
And you're filling in
conversation.
your own blanks, and you're coming to your own conclusions before you even know.
Exactly. So you're self-sabotaging yourself before that, or you're not even giving yourself the opportunity to be open to see what miracles and magics can happen in your life and what can unfold.
Because when you're stuck like that, you don't see any of that. All that seems to get, a wall seems to get built up.
Exactly. That's our coping mechanisms that we start to build, you know?
So does a lot of your sessions require more than one or two talks with you to help break that wall?
It depends on how thick this wall is, how long it's been, it on the soul level, how much are they willing to do the work? You know, some clients are like, yeah, I'm ready for this. I want to do this. I want to get through it. And then they get through it really quickly because they have that energy of I want, like they're committed. There's some clients who's like, I just want to get to a certain point and I'm good. Wait, fine, whatever. That's your soul, it's your agreement. Fine. I'm just here to be the guide for you to help you get there. Sure. You know, I'm not here to tell you what you can and can't do.
Have you ever gone in and spiritually connected with someone and went, whoa, they're scary?
No.
And like, it never wanted, no, that's good.
No, never. And it's because I've done 8 years, 12 years total, but 8 years I went to school and I trained and I taught in a spiritual development school. So I've learned how to work with spirit and learned how to, develop my clairvoyance ability so that I can help others navigate through their own stuff.
So what's the hardest part in learning something like that? Because it's something you have to hone in.
Being able to face your own shit. That's the hardest.
You first, and then
exactly.
And that's got to be hard in itself as well.
Yes, exactly. Not a lot of people want to look at it, and that's the human nature. But once you can get through your own self, then man, doors, possibilities can open, and it's like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Oh, how enlightening!
It's because that ego is trying to protect you.
Yeah.
That damn ego.
Right. Mine's a solid metal ball right now. No.
Oh, give me a couple of sessions if your guy can knock that one.
So your website says that it takes about 6 months for you to kind of break through all of these things and help people get settled. How did you come up with a 6-month program? Why is that the time frame?
Because it's long enough to get changes. And it's long enough so that they can see results and actually see and feel the transformations happening. And it's also long enough to develop a new way of being. Because if you want something new or something to change or transform, you can't do it from old programming, from old ways of thinking and old ways of feeling things. You can't. So you need that 6 months to practice a new way of dealing with situations and problems as they arrive, as they show up in your life. So I'm here to help you, guide you to this new way of being instead of going after these challenges the same way you have and getting the same results.
Yeah.
Because, what do they say? It takes 3 weeks to break a habit and 3 weeks to make a habit. So that's 6 weeks right there that you have to help them work through even to begin.
Yeah, and it depends, as I said, how thick that wall is, and how willing are they to break through it. I got the tools, I got the knowledge, I have all that, but it comes down to you and how much your success is going to determine on how much work you put in.
Exactly.
And that's the hardest part right there, is
Mhm.
looking at your own stuff and then doing the work to get there.
That is the hardest part, because it's hard
It
to
is.
face your own self.
Exactly.
'Cause it's
And
even
then
hard
to
to
go
believe
through it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Totally. And that's our human nature. We don't want to believe that. No, I can't be doing that. No way. No. But then why is it showing up then? Why hasn't it got resolved? That's what I
Right.
normally tell my clients. I was like, well, if that's not the case, then why hasn't it changed? And they go, exactly. They're like,
Yep.
oh, I thought I dealt with that already. Oh, I already took care of that. Okay, then why are we talking then? Why are we here? Why are you asking me a question?
So I got a question for you about past lives. A lot of your work deals with ancestral legacies or ancestral limitations. When we talk about, or when you talk about past lives, are those just your ancestors kind of coming through or resurfacing in your own life? If I look back in my generations, each generation is 2 times larger than the one just after it, right? So I have 2 parents, I have 4 grandparents, 8 great grandparents, and so on. So there's really a lot of people contributing to my life, right? So as a past life from that kind of lattice of ancestry, or is it possible that your past life is from somebody unrelated to you?
All of it. It could be unrelated. It could be family, past life. They call it like family soul circles. Like you incarnate into the same family and having these same lessons in the family. You have those, but you also have like your wife or your partners. You have probably a past life agreement with her that you probably been with her in another lifetime, or whatnot. Your friendships probably with
I
Kyle.
hope
Like
so.
you guys have relationship in another past life somehow, and why you guys are like, sometimes you're like so connected to this person, you have no reason why you're so drawn to this person. And sometimes there's people that you're like, oh, I can't stand them, get them away from me. Yeah, because there's probably a past life there.
Well, just so you know, the attraction between me and Kyle is purely physical.
Purely. I love it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm fascinated with the study of ancestral loops, the things that keep recurring generation after generation. For example, when I was a teenager, I was mad at my brother and I locked him out of the house, and then I was going to wait for him to try and open the door, and then when he did, I flipped him off, only to find out that it was actually my dad. It wasn't my brother, it was my dad. And I was like, oh my gosh, I like, my dad yelled at me and he's like, you two work it out. And then my dad later told me that he did almost the exact same thing to his dad on accident. And then I was reading like a family history, and my grandpa had a similar experience with his dad. And this is kind of this kind of innocuous, it's not a real big deal, but just something that keeps popping up generation after generation.
Yeah, the middle finger.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's just like, is this what you mean by like a karmic lineage limitation, or just kind of, it's like this wave that hits your family or just resurfaces along your DNA? How is it that cycle keeps repeating itself time after time?
Because it's in the DNA and it's in the soul contract. So we come in, before we incarnate in this planet, in this body, we have a soul contract. What lessons we want to learn, what experiences we want to experience when we come to our life, and we choose our parents, we choose our experience. So then we come into this life.
Missed that day.
And then Yeah, I know. Me too. I might have checked out the wrong box or something.
I think I did too on a few things. Like I don't know if
Me too.
my spiritual counselor there duped me on a few boxes or something because
Right? You didn't read the disclaimer on the bottom.
no,
Fine print.
I just clicked it accept.
Yeah, exactly. Just get me out of here. I'm good. I'm good.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So then there you go.
Yeah. I this the idea of you being bound by your ancestors or burdened by your ancestors, I think really resonates with me. I feel like I'm seeing limitations that have been put on me by my dad, by my grandpa, not intentionally. It's not something that they consciously were trying to do. It's just something that they struggled with, didn't think about, or just wasn't part of their life growing up.
Yes.
And now when I'm facing the obstacles that I face on a daily basis, I'm like, my dad didn't have any wisdom to offer in this arena, and gosh, I wish I knew how to do this. I wish my dad had taught me how to do this. And then I talked to my dad and I said, Dad, at what point did you feel like you finally had a handle on things? And he's like, I'll let you know when I get there.
I like
And
that.
I'm like, Dad, you're like 72. Like what are you talking about? You're still not there.
And well, back then they didn't have all these resources like the way they have now, right? And the thing is that like when we hold on to these unhealed parts of ourselves that's unhealed, subconsciously we pick it up energetically in our environment. Even though we don't talk about it, we pick it up anyway because our energy field is a sponge. We pick up information from the external world constantly, information coming in all the time. But we're not trained to deal with how to put and execute these information because it's always coming in. And then we get influenced because when we hold on to that in our energy field in our body, then we start to get the influence and be taken away by all of these stuff. And that is on a subconscious level. So, getting it to once you can become aware of it, like how now you are aware of it, now you're able to break that cycle because now you are aware. And when you break it inside of you, you're able to break it for your father, for your past generations, and your kids. If you have sons or, or any of that, you get to break this cycle. That's the beauty part about doing this ancestral work. It's not only you're breaking the cycle here presently, but you can go back and break the cycle from your ancestors and break the cycle from your kids.
Yeah.
Like the same.
I don't
with
know
my
that I
son.
know how to solve those problems yet. I just being able to recognize them is one thing, but being able to reverse engineer them and find solutions is something else. So it's a work in progress.
Well, it's going in and finding right. It's always going to be a work in progress. That's what we're doing down here, just constantly learning and growing. But yeah, it's really recognizing your patterns and what are you doing, and then stopping them, and then having the power to choose. You know what? I want to try it a different way. I want to try doing it differently than what I've been told or what I've been shown. And then once you make that choice, but you got to become aware of that. But once you become aware of that, and then now you have that freedom, that the free will of choosing what do you want. The power of choice, the power of making decisions for yourself.
Wow. Now, do you really need to know, Sam talked about his father to his grandfather to his father, his back. Like, I know nothing past grandfather.
No.
Very rarely.
You don't need to know back then.
No?
Yeah. No. Like, so for an example, like, I knew my grandfather had, like, he did all this kahuna work and all that, but then it was in secret and it was in hiding. And then all of a sudden, I was in meditation one day and I saw something that he did, and it was so clear. I guess he went somewhere and he ended up pulling out some demonic energy or something out of someone or something he did. And I was like, whoa, that's weird. And again, my family don't talk about any of that. So, but then I did overhear, I guess my aunt told my cousin, and my cousin told me about what my grandfather did. And I was like, oh my God, I just saw that. Like, I became aware of that. Like, that's what he did with his energy, with his power, with his, you know. And I was like, oh, cool. So I was able to like tap in and go ask him and be like, hey, Grandpa, how'd you do that? Why'd you do that? You know? And like, it's
Did he,
been
he
pretty
told you?
amazing. Yeah, he told me. And also, like, when my mother went to go get surgery on her knee, my mom's like not spiritual, she's religious. And so we went to go, I told her, okay, we went to the doctor and I told her, oh, we're going to go visit your dad, Grandpa. She's like, oh yeah, let's go visit him. We went to visit him. The reason why I had her go is because he told me to bring her, but I couldn't tell her, Grandpa said to bring you. You know what I mean? She used to think I'm crazy when I used to tell her stuff like that. So I just said, oh yeah, let's go visit Grandma. So we went. And then all of a sudden, we're there. There's no wind. I'm cleaning up his graveyard. And then all of a sudden, my mom said it. She asked. My mom has a hard time of asking for help. This is her lesson. She doesn't trust anybody, so it's hard for her to ask for help. Like right before we were going to leave, she goes, Dad, I'm going to surgery, so I would really like your help to help me, like, watch over me. Because she's religious. She's not spiritual. So she said, Dad, if you can watch over me. A wind picked up, and all the things that was on his grave flew off the grave. And I go, oh, you got your answer. Okay, it's time to go. He answered you.
Wow, that's neat. Well, so Janese, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Kahuna Wisdom Keeper, or Janese _Ululani on Instagram. And yeah, well, my website is kind of like in the process of maintenance.
Okay. And do they have to be in Hawaii to work with you?
No, they don't. We do this over Zoom. All they do is just book a session with me. Not a session. It's a self-awareness call. It's 60 minutes. It's free. So anyone, I can offer this as a gift for people who are listening or here. It's 60 minutes. It's a self-awareness call, and it's going to go over to identify some of these limitations and challenges that you're currently having right now, and start to identify them. And then I can help you, give you suggestions, what you need to do to break free from this so you can move forward. And then if you like my help or assistance helping you with that, guidance from me, then I will offer how you can work with me. Because I have 2 programs. I have the 6-month program, or I just do clairvoyant reading sessions.
Very nice. Well, Janese, thank you so much for taking the time with us today. I know that you're a busy person, so I appreciate you taking so much time. And
Me too.
And we hope to have you back on the program. If you have availability in the future, let us know. For everybody else who's watching, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions for Janese, you can reach out to her through the website, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm sure she'd be happy to help you address those questions, right?
Yes,
Very good.
I would love to. Thank you.
Until next time, keep on examining the edges of the unknown.